first at one of the best-loved novels of all time, Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. The coming-of-age story of the four March sisters is returning to the stage, and I'm delighted to be joined this week by two of its all-star cast, Honeysuckle Weeks and Grace Moloney. Welcome to Showcase.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here. For those that don't know the story of Little Women, can you give us a very brief synopsis of what it's about?
I would say it's a coming-of-age story about a family in America. It starts during the American Civil War, and it is about this kind of transition from adolescence to womanhood, centered around four girls who have very different ambitions and hopes and dreams from life.
And characters.
Does
it add to the pressure when you already have so many versions of such a loved story played by, big Hollywood stars? Does that add to the pressure, or is it part of the joy of playing the characters?
We were just discussing this in the car, what a dangerous thing it is to play a role that an icon has played. And in Marmie's case, it would be Susan Sarandon or Laura Dern. Yeah. Yes, I think it's a challenge.
It is. It does feel quite daunting. I think that 95% of the audience will have either read the novel or seen a version, an adaptation, TV or film, and so they will have an opinion of Jo. And I also think that with Jo, so many people relate to Jo. So many girls reading the book when they're young relate to her, and so I think people feel quite attached to Jo, and so it is quite scary, kind of making sure I don't disappoint her.
She's iconic.
She is iconic, but that's just, for me, that is the most exciting thing, and it's an honour to play her.
On that, Saoirse Ronan.
Yes.
A little birdie tells me that you might be better at Jo than Saoirse.
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't know who told me that.
No offence, Saoirse.
No! Oh my goodness, no way. No
you
way.
You have a wildness about you. You have a kind of unconventional, kind of brio,
What's a brio?
As in Spanish, like shine.
Yeah.
Brio.
Yeah.
Oh, a shine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cute. Love that. I mean,
that's really nice.
Don't get bigger than that as a compliment, do you? I have a brio. How much does having other previous productions or films like Greta Gerwig's production help when it comes to research?
I have not watched them since being cast.
Is that key? So
I think so. I wouldn't want to be copying what anyone else has done. I want to come up with my own version of Jo. Yeah. I've read the book again, and my research has more been into sort of America at that time. 1862 is when it starts, and so researching the American Civil War, which I actually didn't know much about at all before this.
Yeah, I mean, in that time in America, when Abraham Lincoln had just been elected, it was all about democracy and increasing votes for everyone. And now we're in a time where it seems democracy is waning. So I think it's quite relevant to look back to a time when people put duty first and self second. And that's especially true of Little Women and the characters in it.
What's the idea behind touring with this adaptation instead of staying in one single theatre?
That's a really good question. I think it's so that the maximum amount of people can see this production. And the characters in it, everyone's a Meg, a Beth, an Amy, or a Jo.
Yeah.
And I think watching this production, you're bound to identify with one of them, or one of the men even. It's interesting that the Civil War, it's set during the Civil War, and that goes on, and it's a theme in the story. But what we concentrate on is the women, and to show that the women don't lead smaller lives just because they're women, that their lives and their efforts, it's duty rather than desire. It's what my character tries to instill in her daughters, which is a very pilgrim thing to do. She's a Puritan and she has puritanical views, and she tries to instill these values in her daughters, and largely successfully, I think.
Is there music, because there's music in the film. They're all round the piano. We get little glimpses of singing. Is there a lot of singing in this stage production?
Yes, we have tried to put singing and carols and hymns in wherever possible, as there are quite a lot of time jumps, and there's a lot of that we're trying to show through music and kind of more expressionist ways.
So music's sort of used to make the jump.
Yeah, sort of as the time passing. We use music to show time passing, and we all of us sing in it.
Could you give me a little snippet from one of the songs, please?
I knew does this. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
No, we can't do this, please. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Our God is marching on.
That's sung in unison, but we're
Promise
supposed to be
we're
doing
better
it
in
in
the real
harmony.
thing.
Oh, no.
Wow, you just had to go and see it to believe it. That was very good.
No.
That was lovely. It's been so lovely catching up with you both. I can't wait to see it. It sounds fabulous, and best of luck with the tour and this latest adaptation of Little Women. Thanks for coming to talk to us at Showcase.
Thanks,
Lovely
Rhiannon.
to meet you. Thank you.